Welcome back to Ride JBI. I'm JB. Today I'm with my friend Ryan Mayfield. He rides a 2025 KTM 450 SXF. On the forks, it's got the WP Exact Pro 7548, aka cone valve forks. And then in the back, he has been testing our JBI spec WP Linkage shock. With that context in mind, I'm gonna let Ryan take over. He's gonna share with you just how long he's been riding for, what previous bikes he's had. Please drop in a little bit about your stature, and then just your overall feedback on the shock setup that we built for you.
Okay. Yeah, so basically I've been riding and in racing a little bit here and there. It's been a long time. So a lot of time.
Experienced rider.
Yeah, I don't know if it really pans out to be. Like some people are a little faster than I am with less experience. But yeah, I can get around, have fun. I still race a little bit and enjoy that.
What is your height and weight?
Height and weight, so that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 6'3", and I like to eat. So I'm close to 200. It varies a little bit. I think when we set this up, I was probably like 185, 190, and I'm up to like 195 right now. So I've been a little heavier, but it's still working pretty well.
What's been a thing for you that you recognize that you have to adjust bikes when you buy a stock bike? What's like the first thing you look to adjust to better fit the bike to you?
I think the main thing is the shock spring. I think with KTM specifically, they have the air fork to start with on the bike, so you can just adjust the air pressure for the spring rate in the front. But the rear is the issue. It's the stock spring rates on all of those for a guy my height that's kind of light. It's still soft because of the way a taller guy's body is. The way we put pressure on the bike, it's a little bit further back, a little bit more leverage.
You got leverage. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's spring rate is big.
Cool. So just give some more context. Ryan's been riding on the cone valve forks, which is from your past bike. And those are set up by the Pierre Mobility Group, which is we're say KTM out here in California. Yeah. And then you've been riding the stock shock for a while, but with the proper spring rate on there. So you got to log a lot of time on the 25 model settings, which definitely are better stock settings than the previous years they've come out with. But then that gave you a good, let's say, benchmark to compare the settings we built for you for your shock.
Yeah, I definitely got a good baseline out of that. I put enough hours on it, probably close to 40, about 30 hours, I think, on the stock shock. And I feel like I got a good, like, comfortable-ish. I figured out where I was at with the shock, and I figured out where to put the clickers with it to make it work as well as I could with it. But there's still a couple of things that I wanted out of the shock that I wasn't quite able to figure out with it.
What stood out to you when you started getting some time on the JBI spec shock we built for you?
I think the biggest thing, and what I literally, like I asked you about too with it, was I was having so much trouble getting comfort from the exit of corners, especially if I'm in a rut and there's some rough chop on the exit from a corner, it would just beat me up. Like I had a lot of trouble keeping the level of control and traction that I wanted on the exit from a rut.
So that was one area that you really noticed an improvement on was, let's say, the comfort and kind of plushness in that scenario.
Yeah, and that's like we mentioned, that's what I was really hoping for out of it, and that's something that I definitely delivered on with that shock.
Cool, thank you. Because previously you were on a 22 gas 450, and you had a Exact Pro shock on there, done by Factory Services as well, which performed quite well. So you know what good suspension is. You've just been taking your new bike and trying to get it to work as good, hopefully better, than your previous bike.
Yeah, and I don't think even with that one I found the right settings for me. Had a lot of adjustability, and I didn't ask for a lot of guidance with it. I kind of just was like, oh, I can use this shock. It's a great shock. I might as well just use it and have a good time with it. So the valving, the spring rate may have been a little bit different from what they were supposed to be. So I never got the comfort that I was looking for out of that shock either. And I used it for 2 different bikes. So
yeah, you got some time on that one, didn't you?
Yeah, quite a bit of time on that one.
Yeah. What about in terms of like holdups? By that I mean when you're riding fast and aggressive, think like rolling whoops when you're kind of going up the kind of roller section at Kahia. How did that compare to the stock shock?
The traction was better with this one. I felt like the settings that you put in there, or just the guidance you gave me with the settings, probably a combination of both. I was able to get a little bit more control and a little bit better traction. Specifically, that section we were talking about, going up those rollers, I could add a little bit more confidence in the bike and a little just more control. Was able to hold it on a little bit better. So that was good. Big improvement.
Awesome. Oh, thank you, man. And then I guess the last spot we really focus on is kind of bottom meter resistance. So any high impacts when you're out on the track, which is typically jumps and jump landings. So how's the shock feeling like in that area?
There's I think you got a good balance with the progression on the shock.
Okay.
So it stiffens up at the right point where it feels comfortable and feels controlled.
Cool.
So,
oh, thank you. So it sounds like overall just kind of a overall improvement. By no means perfect, but compared to what the stock shock was, it sounds like we kind of nailed each 3 of those categories in terms of improving it from there.
Yeah. I think I may need to slow down on bulking season though if I don't want to switch spring rates though. I did notice that like I was getting pretty close to the end with it, but I think that's spring rate for me because I've gained a little bit of weight. I'm 10 pounds heavier than when we built that shock.
You're looking good though, man. I mean, hitting the gym.
Trying.
Yeah.
Eat cake.
Yeah, we got a firmer spring here if you need one. Again, we just like to be very transparent on what we do here, why we do it, and what riders should expect when they get their suspension back from us. And then on top of that, be able to have people come in and share their own experience. So it's just not the words coming out of my mouth, it's from the actual rider themselves.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. The one thing we skipped over something and I forgot to mention it.
Yeah.
There was a section at Kahia where I felt like your shock shined quite a bit.
Okay, which one was that?
It was we were doing there's a hip jump into a roller and a turn.
We did get some good footage of that. Yes.
Yeah, and it had a lot of chatter coming into it. And so that in that section, the shock is compressed, and then you have, with the shock already compressed, a lot of chatter. And that's something where that really shined. Like it was able to maintain stability through that instead of deflecting. And and obviously you can do a lot of that with clickers, but that was beyond what the clickers would have done on my previous setup with the shock. That was really good. That was go a lot faster through that. So
okay, yeah. So this was the section where you do the flag jump, you land, you're under. Actually, you probably throttle for a bit, hit those kind of 2 rollers, and then under heavy braking right before you take that inside. That's that roller right there. Okay,
exactly.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's leading up to that little there's like that hump, that first roller into the one that you turn on. That whole section, a lot better.
Cool, awesome. Well, thank you, Matt. It just makes me smile. We've been tuning the KTM since 2005, and it's taken me 20 years to get our JBI spec OEM shock setups to now perform as good as our JBI spec Exact Pro, or aka track shocks setup. So by no means was this like an overnight thing. It's just been me plugging away year after year after year and going, well, here's our settings compared to stock. And we could always get the stock shock to work better than stock, but whenever we'd go out and test the stock shock versus our tracks or Exact Pro shock, I'd always be like, fuck, man, there's such a gap between the two. So it wasn't until we really figured out getting a different compression adjuster piston in there and really starting to commonize the hard parts between the 2 shocks, then we're able to get the same level of performance. Because what's cool about physics is you can't cheat it. So if you use a part of a certain geometry and design and you implement that into another shock that's very similar, you can logically deduce it's going to work. It's going to perform very similar as well. So again, it took me 20 years to come up with that idea, even though it's been right in front of me for so long. But that's why we do this, is we just plug away at it one thing at a time and incrementally work our way to get better, better, and better. And right now, I'm just pleased that we can now take a stock shock and get it to work at the same level as our kit shocks. The kit shocks are still awesome. People still buy them from us. We still sell those. But it's important to me to have options for the people that we work with. And also, that's how we learn. It's hard to know how good we can get if we don't go out and test. If all we did was test stock shocks, then we'd be limited in knowing how good they can be. If all we did was test kit shocks, we wouldn't know what else we could maybe tune. So it's great for us to go out and work with different riders, use different hardware, and just get feedback. Because without doing that, it's hard to know what your benchmark is and or how good something really can be. So again, that's what we're working on really hard here, is to be transparent with you guys about what we do, why we do it, and what you as a rider should expect when you get back your JBI spec suspension.